Chris, June, and Emily Larimer of June, IND. Hi, you guys. Hi, Emily.
Hello, how are you?
All good. Chris, how are you?
I'm here, man.
All
I'm
right.
ready to chat.
You said we may or may not hear from the kids while we're here. That's fine. We like that.
The dogs and kids are always in the background.
Mine are 30 and 40. I guarantee you we will not hear from them.
Hopefully you don't hear from mine. They should be sleeping, but who knows what's going to happen with that.
When my daughter was little, we had this routine of things we had to go through at bedtime, like a water and a story and a certain, things that had to happen. And she always asked for things to think about. We give me things to think about. I would say, yes, we're all dying slowly. How about that? Go ahead.
Deep thoughts for bedtime.
Go ahead and let that marinate, little girl. Well, the reason we're all getting together was we were fortunate enough to get to announce the release of you guys' song, which is taking off evidently pretty well. What is it? How many did you say views you've had on that video for the tune, Chris?
I think we're up over 1,100. We don't get a lot of play on YouTube, so this is quite a bit for us.
Over 1,100. See, I still look at it like that's 1,100 people, like have paid attention, or even if some of them came back a few times. That's a lot of people. If you put that many people in a hall, they'll want you to be the house band.
Yeah.
that'd be good enough. So that's just excellent. And the song we're talking about, "Come to Hand," is a remade track from you guys' days in the band Chemcoma. That goes back a little while. Emily, how did you guys arrive at the decision to rework that song?
I think we were trying to. So obviously COVID happened. We had some good momentum with the first two Optimists Volume 1 and 2 of our releases we've done recently. As well, 2019 I guess was the most recent one. So we were trying to figure out how to regain some momentum there. And one of the things that has changed for us besides COVID is that we both have bigger families now, and getting away and going to Chicago to hang out with Dan and go record for a weekend is a little bit more difficult, even without all the other things. So we were trying to find another option if there was some way we could record locally and then have him mix it still, as even just a plan B, if we had, as a way to push, the recording process a little faster, but also make it a little bit easier on us. So before all that would happen, we wanted to make sure that we, that's the cat, by the way, that's not the kid.
That's okay.
Before she just turned on some toys. So before all that happened, we wanted to make sure that we were comfortable with the process, and we hadn't recorded in Rec Room. And we were kind of tossing around, well, who would do the engineering for us? And the idea of Neil came up, and we were interested in hopping in the studio with him and seeing how that went. So in that whole situation, we wanted to pick a song that wasn't going to be one of the Optimists songs, and do a test run with something that we weren't introducing for the first time. So we kind of picked on "Come to Hand" because it allowed us to also bring in Justice, and there's lots of vocals going on, and also it sounds pretty good stripped down, I think, if we do say so ourselves. So just having the guitar and djembe and violin in there was really cool.
I think a good song has that kind of bones that you can do it in different ways, and it still has meaning and resonance and still sounds good.
Yeah, we think so too.
So, Chris, you did some of this recording at Rec Room Studios, which are the studios that are located at the Tippecanoe Arts Federation. For folks that don't know, and for folks that don't know where the Tippecanoe Arts Federation is, it's the Old Wells Library. If you're old, it's that place. How is that facility for you?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I remember when that room was the old North Room where we used to have taste meetings and all. But Scott Greason, the Songwriters Association of Mid-North Indiana crew that helped make that studio happen. It was great, and perfect gear-wise and size-wise for what we needed for this. And we went in there, and with Neil McTavish, he engineered the recording, and I think we did it all in 3 takes each. And we got enough of good stuff and sent it up to Dan Precision in Chicago to mix and master.
Do you like to work that way, quickly, as few takes as possible, or does that matter at all to you?
It's cheaper, Rick.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Time is money in the studio for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done it, several different ways where, we, record at home and send it to mix, or go somewhere and send it to mix. I find now at this point in my life, I don't have as much time to sit there and tinker with getting something correct. I'd like that pressure of going in and, all right, got to get it done.
Yeah.
And get in and get out.
Yep.
You can have too much time.
Yeah. And we kind of started that with Dan, really. I mean, we've both been notoriously bad about wanting every note to be perfect and in a perfect place and lined up on the grid. And when we started recording with Dan in his studio, he does kind of the 3-take thing. And then if you really aren't super happy, he'll let you punch in just certain sections. And actually turned out, we were okay with the 3-take thing. We would usually get it in 1 or 2, and then maybe he would have to cut in a couple notes here or there. So that was part of the goal with this song, was to get it done in one night. So having 3 different people having to sing and play instruments and stuff, that kind of also gave us a bit of a condensed timeline. So I was going there and nail it. And I actually kind of like, if there's things that aren't exactly perfect, it gives it a little bit more character too. So
it does. It gives
kind of growing into that as we're getting older.
Some imperfections do create some character. The problem is when it's you that has recorded it, when you hear it back, you don't necessarily hear it from the standpoint of, oh, that's some character right there. You hear,
right,
that's that time I completely effed that
I want to
up.
do that again.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time or money to record it over again. And I've heard some major recording artists, if you can call somebody that, say the same thing with, songs that get played all day, every day by everybody, that everybody loves and knows. Well, you're seeing that, but I'm hearing this note over here that was kind of flat.
Yeah. Yep. A djembe hit I didn't get, or Yep.
So tell me about, Chris, you talk about it, the ensuing time since 2019 and the first annual meeting of optimists. And when you talk about 2019, it seems so much longer ago. It seems like there's a lot more than the time that has actually elapsed. It seems so much longer than that. Because life changed so much in that time. How did the changes that occurred, did they change your approach to music at all, your approach to your instrument or recording or creating or any of that?
Not really. I mean, so Chemcoma, as we like to say, like most bands start in a garage. Chemcoma started in a furniture store, or the old Crouch School on Union Street. We had a rehearsal space, like back in the old principal's office / nurse's office or whatever. So I feel like some of that time kind of prepared us. Like, I don't know about UM, but I consider myself a centrovert. Like I can show up for the party and we're good to go, but I can also just like hang out with headphones on, like working on music for like 12 hours straight. So, it hasn't changed a lot for me. I mean, I just see way less people.
Right. Well, yeah, definitely way fewer people. But Emily, you guys are seeing more people on a daily basis than you were seeing that many years ago, since you have the little ones with you. How does parenthood affect what you're doing?
It's definitely, like Chris said, it's condensed our timeline as how much time we have to get together. And I think that we understand, if like something happens and we've got sick kids or whatever, and we need to push practice back. We're kind of at a place we've played together for so long and kind of know what we're going to do and pretty good about being professionals, if you will, about being prepared and showing up. And well, at least he does. I show up and wing it. But usually when we get together, we can jump right in and just like really practice, and then also make sure we take some friend time, and hang out and ask about each other's families. But in my case, my kids are still little, so 13 months, they don't really like big raucous drum noises yet. We'll get there, but they're not there yet. Still kind of scary. So
I never got into it, and my dad was a drummer, and I never enjoyed it when I was a kid. It's why I played trumpet. He had so much gear.
I mean, the gear part I didn't think through when I started drumming, but I'm hoping they're going to carry stuff for me. My back is getting, creaky. But yeah, I think we're kind of understands we're on a timeline, but also sometimes we have to move things around, and that's why getting this song done, in one night. I think Chris will probably chuckle at while I was there, my twins are home with my wife, and it was just like chaos here, of course, for her. And I was like, they just don't want me to be a rock star ever again, because they were just having a royal fit and she was here by herself. And
Right.
I felt guilty, but I was also like 3 hours, like 3 hours of the last year, 4 hours, whatever it was. So there's a little bit of that, the mom guilt, I think, happened that evening, but they fell asleep and everything was fine. And the song turned out great. And it's just been one more thing to schedule around, and
Right.
all of the things that he and I have been through over the last 15 plus years that we've known each other. It's kind of one of the easier and more fun issues to deal with having kids, because we like, seeing our families grow and everything. But it is definitely another challenge to work through.
Yeah, I'm kind of way on the other end of that transaction of having kids. So I can at least say that, like, these times for y'all are going to seem like ancient times when you're begging them to spend some time with you.
Yeah. It's already flown. Just the first year has gone so fast and I don't, his oldest is 5 already. I can't believe. So it's flying.
I used to offer time with me as a punishment. I would say, we're going to spend more time together if you do that thing. And then, boy,
I'll keep that one in mind.
That was worse than any spanking you could threaten anybody with. I'll tell you what. You're grounded, mister. And Chris, you mentioned in that interview with Dave Bangert that, you think about one day when the kids are old enough to carry the gear. And that made me think of a couple of things. First of all, carrying my dad's gear around. And he always had some new case to put more stuff in, because his idea of a lighter thing was fewer cases.
That's it.
Weighing 10
totally
metric tons each instead of.
I have a little bit of a case fetish.
Making
bags and stuff. Put it all in there.
Right. Instead of making numerous trips of 5 to 10 pounds, like 3 trips of 50 that was Dad's math on the.
Sounds like he was a character building guy. He was in the building character.
He did build character, but only in my brother. So fortunately, he didn't build any in me, which was good. But
needed more cases, I think.
the other thing it made me think about was how much lighter and smaller the equipment is now than it was in the day. Like, by the time your kids are carrying your gear around, it won't be that hard. It'll
just be like a cell phone chip in your ear and you just like project it up on the screen or something. Yeah.
Well, I play this electronic wind instrument and it's less than a pound. And there's the sax player with this band, Shadowfax. He goes out and does demos, and he uses the electronic wind instrument a lot when he does it, because he can take that in and play it through GarageBand on his phone and plug his phone into the house sound, and he's got less than a pound of instrument with him, and he's
crazy.
got all that stuff to carry around. So that's pretty cool. And also to another thing, Chris, from the article with Dave Bangert, you mentioned about doing the same kind of reworking with some of the Optimist meeting material. Is that still in the plans?
Well, I mean, we were halfway done with recording it, like the big, loud versions of these songs. So that was kind of the idea. Like, we don't know when all this pandemic stuff's going to be over with, so we're going to have to switch to a plan B is going to be plan A for a while, and we're just going to start releasing them unplugged, just like that, just like Come to Hand turned out. So I think it's going to work. I mean, we thought Come to Hand was going to work, and it did. So
it's worked really well. So
we're rolling with it. But yeah, so that's the plan for at least our new music stuff. I think before we get into that, though, we owe a favor to our buddy Joe Peters. So we're going to help him out on a song that him and Michael Kelsey are doing. Maybe lay down some vocals for him.
That's great. They do great work. I've done a couple of things with them. I wrote a couple things and just sent them to Joe, and then it comes back with a demo on it, and then then a couple more emails, and we have the whole thing put together. It's pretty amazing. And he did that collaborations thing where he had all kinds of people doing stuff.
Yeah, we were supposed to do that, and virus issues took us out of that.
They're going to do that. They're going to do a show in October.
Mm-hmm.
And try and play those things, and that would be cool to see. And if you if you finish up what you're working on with them by then, I bet that they'd love to have you come out and play it out there. And I guess they're doing it at the Opera House in Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. That's a nice spot.
Delphi, where all the good opera has come through this area.
They've got a great room for it when it does. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is a wonderful room. The sound's really nice in there, and they've done a really good job with that, and a good job of getting people in there to perform and do things. So Come to Hand is out there. People are listening to it. For folks that don't know, they can find your music on Bandcamp.
iTunes, Spotify, like all
All the things. Yep.
everywhere that you can have it. JuneIND.com/links is going to be the fastest way to get you to those pages without having to hunt around for them.
Great, and we'll put all that down below in the comments with links to things. And we look forward to hearing more and more of what you're doing. And we got rained out on Saturday. My band was supposed to play at the Mosey, and we got rained out on that end of the street. I guess Chris X and his guys played, but they'll play in a hurricane.
Yeah.
But we ended up getting rained out on that deal. But there were a lot of people out there, and people are definitely wanting to hear some live music and get out to some venues and stuff like that. And it looks like that's opening up a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're not planning on being out in front of people until next year, as of now. So
still being pretty cautious.
Yeah,
we'll pick up any virtual things that we can get into. But I don't know. It's like look around, get the little kids now. It's like,
it's somebody else's risk besides your own, and so that does make a big difference. But people are hankering, and I think that things. Emily, when I talked to Chris before, I mentioned this too, that the pandemic brought along some things, might have sped along some certain things that are probably going to stay that way, like so many more people getting groceries like delivered and driving through to pick them up. And as it is, you can hardly get around the grocery store for the shoppers, like those big shopper tanks that used to go around the store. That's going to keep going. I wonder if you think the same way, that people are going to continue to do things, present themselves online and do some of these workarounds that started in the pandemic.
I think so. I think because the technology has caught up so quickly and it actually kind of worked. It's not ideal. I think the shows we played last year, not having that feedback as a performer, we had one virtual performance we did where people were doing this, we could see them, but you can't hear them and that energy isn't there. But it still was a great way to reach people that we probably wouldn't have gotten to. They're several states away, but they were able to log in and enjoy a show with us. So there's pros and cons to it. I don't think as a musician I'm ever going to prefer to do the virtual shows forever, or like never play live again. That's definitely not ideal. But like I said, it allows us to get to some more people, and people that maybe wouldn't be interested in coming to a live show or wouldn't be local enough to come to a live show. And I hope it does continue. And fundraisers are a little bit easier when you're in a virtual environment. Everybody's got their web browser open anyway. Right. Which we've been really heavy into trying to raise money to help local organizations. So I think we're definitely on board with continuing those as long as there's an interest.
You guys are always involved in pushing the music scene out there in general too, and you do a lot of good work for that, and represent the whole music scene really well out there with your music and the things you do and the places you choose to play and perform and stuff. It's all very good. So I can't thank you enough for spending some time with us. Thanks a bunch, Emily and Chris. We appreciate it.
Hey, we got to do one more thing before we end this.
Yes, sir.
Are you good with this, Sam?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I don't know if Rick's ready though.
If we're talking about Chemcoma, we got to do the A.
Hey! It's a throwback for all the old Chemcoma maniacs out there.
This
that
broadcast
remember
was brought to you by the letter A.
by the letter A.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch, and we'll
Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
we'll send everybody over to Bandcamp or to all the usual outlets to look for your music, what's out now and what's coming. So thanks a bunch.
Thank you.